Alright, I'm going to try to play around and see how this goes, filming each hole. Obviously the wind is getting into it. Hole 1, CCU, about 230, 240, probably a 15 mile per hour headwind. 400G F1. Very nice. Spike down just in front of the basket. Should have about a 10-foot putt. Hole 1. Hole 2 is basically 300 feet line of sight. You can go forehand around the outside, you can go backhand around the outside, or kind of a hard backhand straight up the middle with something like a fairway. So here goes. Sitting at -1. This shot has about a 10-15 mile per hour downwind, tailwind. So I'm using the 400 H4 V2. Faded off a little early and did not give it enough right, so I've got about a 40 footer. Hole 2, pretty close to 40 feet. Hole 3 is around probably 180-ish, somewhere in that ballpark. Same, straight into that same headwind, 10-15 mile per hour headwind. I generally throw a putter, but because of the headwind, the putter would turn over. So I'm gonna go with something a little bit more stable, but also something that'll hold straight for a little while. 300 A2, the pretty beat up version. Went straight at it and let it fade off instead of going to the right a little bit. My hand, I always worry about hitting my hand on these poles. So that was my mistake. I should have went around the outside. Hole 3, about a 25 footer for birdie, using Basegrip P Model US. Hole 4, you can't see the basket from here, but it's about 360. Pretty much straight ahead, straight in front of these bushes here on the other side. The trick here is you've got a right to left wind, maybe 10-15 miles per hour. There's a line of trees blocking you on the right, so you don't feel the wind, but it's up there. And when you throw something, if you throw it with a little bit of flex, once it starts turning right, the wind beats it down. So forehand is kind of out of the question because I don't have a 450-foot sidearm. So I try to throw something over these bushes here with a little bit of flex, but something that will definitely finish back left pretty hard and give me a decent shot into the green. I want something that I'm not going to turn over and dump into that right to left wind. 400G X3. Well, I don't know if you saw it or not, but I slipped. Not terrible, but I slipped just enough that my Anheuser shot kind of came out and dumped to the right. But there's enough wind and it did have enough stability. It should have come back, but I'm probably in the trees. I'm at my drive here on hole 4. Threw it about 260, 270. So yeah, I definitely slipped. You can see I've got about 100 feet roughly under these branches over to the disc. I could go something high over the top like a grenade, but I think I'm going to be better off to throw something low with a skip. So I'm going to go with the 400G F1, throw a low skip shot. Almost hit the pole. Putt on hole 4 for par. Here we are at hole 5. It's just over 200 feet, somewhere in the 220, 210, 220 range. There's 3 routes. You can obviously go out around the right with something very overstable, go around the left with something overstable on a forehand or a turnover, or you could go directly through the middle with a putter, mid-range or something like that. We have about a 10 mile per hour tailwind, so whatever you throw is going to be more overstable than you think. I want to give it a run. There's bushes right behind it that'll kind of protect you. I want to give it a run. I want to ace this hole. So .750 M4 straight down the middle. When you started out basket height, you're not going to give it much of a run. It stopped 10 feet short. It was a great shot. It was dead straight, but I never got it high enough. The limbs on this little tree here kind of messed with my mind, so I wanted to make sure I got under it, but nonetheless, it should be an easy birdie. All right, so there's my drive on hole 5. Should be an easy birdie, 20 feet, 25 feet roughly. Let's go make sure. Hole 6 is around 330. I don't know if you can see it or not, but straight through those trees there. I'm trying to see, I got a glare on the screen. Straight through those trees there is the basket. Easiest route is to go around the outside, something stable. I am into a headwind, so it's about a 10-15 mile per hour headwind, so I do have to take account for that. Because of that, I want to throw something with some stability, but something that'll also get a little flex and a little distance. 400G X3. All right, well, I threw it about 330, 340. It flexed to the right too much. So instead of hugging that tree line and coming in, sitting right up underneath the basket, I've got about a 35 footer. I'm at my drive on hole 9. Basket's about 330. I threw it about 320, but I am about 35 feet from the basket. So let's see, maybe a birdie. Well, it was a par, but from 35 feet, 40 feet, I'm not complaining. I gave it enough, almost enough height, and it was severely downwind, so I can live with that. 3 under, 3-6. Hole 7, basket is off in the distance there, not the short one here to the right, but off in the distance. Used to say 265 or something like that on U-Disc, so everything I threw come up short. It's actually, I lasered it. It's actually about 300 feet, pretty much dead on. It will be into a decent left to right hurting wind. So I want something that'll go out straight and flat and have enough stability to fight back to the basket. For that, Duraflex F Model US. Threw it a little bit low, and the wind actually started pushing it to the right, so that wasn't a good thing. I'm sitting probably another about 35, 40-foot putt. At my drive on hole 7, distance-wise, I'm spot on. 300 feet, I threw it about 305, 310. It just never had enough stability to get back. So I'm gonna have to work for this birdie, probably about circle's edge, 30, 35 feet. Oh, ouch. Hole 8, used to be hole 5, but hole 8. You can see the basket is down off in the distance, measures out to be about 280. There's a big tree right before the basket, so you want to be either right side long, left side long, or short enough that you can get around that tree or under that tree. So what I'm going to do is got a little bit of right to left wind. I want to try to throw something that'll flip up and glide before it dumps to the left. My typical play on this hole is 400 F3. And I don't know if you could see that or not. It went out, flipped up to flat, glide for a little while. Once it started to break left to fade, the wind took care of it, pushed it far left, so hyzer just in front of the tree, and I'm sitting probably 20, 25 feet, maybe 30, just barely short left. I don't know how well you can see it, but I am actually only about 20 feet from the basket, about even with the tree. So let's go see if we can't get to 4 down. All right, hole 9. Hole 9 is going to be slightly downwind. You can see the basket is off in the distance there. Let me pan you over just a bit. A couple different routes. You can go straight down the middle here, this way. You can go big hyzer around the outside and crash the trees. You can go through the left side here with the forehand. You can even do a flex forehand. Because it's downwind, it's going to be more, your disc is going to be more stable than normal. So I think what I'm going to do is, I think I'm going to throw my 400 H4V2, pretty understable. Hyzer flip it, try to hit that picnic table off in the distance, and if I can get picnic table height going through those trees, it'll have enough speed to put me usually within circle 1. Oh, that's one of my better shots. I threw it directly at the picnic table. It flipped up. It actually started bending a little bit and sliding a little bit to the right. It went around the tree that's over here. I don't know, I can barely see the camera. It went around the tree right there and kind of hyzered and skipped back in. I should be basket high, or should be pin high, maybe with a putt. Let's go see if it's obstructed. Here's my drive on hole 9. The basket is about 320. 330, and I'm almost pin high. There's a tree directly in my way, but I think I can lean out to the right maybe. We'll see. Try to get that birdie to go 5 down through 9, which is strong. Oh, I hit the top band. No worries. Still played 4 down through 9. Had the opportunity to go 5, 6, or maybe even 7 down. Likely probably 5 or 6 down through 9, which is a strong score out here, especially considering the wind conditions. When the wind is up, it's almost impossible. When the wind is down, it's a very scoreable course. But That's the little 9-hole course in front of Coastal Carolina University.